welcome to Code.py. In this series, I'll be covering coding interview questions that I've encountered during actual interviews from different topics ranging from recursion, lists, arrays, etc. In Python. And I'll be covering very basic problems as well as the complex ones related to the topics across the different videos and try to share the solution that worked for me. I don't claim the solution to be the best, nor do I claim that the problems that I will cover are the only ones to be encountered in that particular area. The intention here is to try to help others who are looking to prepare for coding interviews with Python, and I would encourage you guys to feel free to share your suggestions and help in case you have a better or efficient solution for the problem that I'm discussing. So in this video, to start with, we will be discussing recursion and write a Python code to calculate factorial using recursion. So it might sound like a very elementary problem, but I have seen that even this kind of a problem, when people encounter in interviews, they sometimes falter, or basically they do not use the best approach that is available. So I believe the approach that I am sharing could be one of the better approaches when it comes to calculating factorial using recursion. So when we talk about factorial, factorial is a product of all the positive integers less than or equal to n for any given number n. We have to understand that it works only with positive integers, and the base case, or one key constraint, or one key rule that applies to factorial is 0 factorial is always going to be 1. It's kind of a seed problem or a base case, like I mentioned. Just like for Fibonacci, we have the first element to be 0 and the second element to be 1, like that. Also, when we talk about recursion, there are 3 steps always involved in any recursive problem. The first step is the recursive case. The second step, or the second stage, is the base case, which we already discussed just a minute back. And then the third case are the edge cases, or the constraints that we have to make sure that our solution meets. So in case of factorial, the recursive case is calculating n factorial can be converted into a recursive problem in the following fashion, where for n factorial we can convert it into n multiplied by factorial of n minus 1. So that is what recursion means. So we have to break down a problem into a smaller problem. So this is the equation that does it in case of factorial. Then the base case, like I discussed, there are some assumptions or standards that we follow. So which is 0 factorial is always 1, and also 1 factorial also is 1. In the edge cases, we have to make sure our solution meets is that it only works with positive integers, and if somebody is providing, or the end user is providing an input which is not satisfying the the constraints or the edge case, then we have to basically share an appropriate message. So without getting into more theory part of it, let's get started with the code. So to start with, of course, we have to define our factorial function. So definition factorial, I will call it as and let's say we pass a number n. So straight away I'll write basically straight away I'll write the statement for our recursion to start with. So let's say I will say return value of n multiplied by factorial, that is, we will call our own function again. This is basically what we mean by a function being recursive. Now this ideally is the only this basically completes our base or basic version of our factorial function, but we haven't yet considered the base case and the edge cases. But before that, let's try to see if we can get desired results for using this function alone. So if name, let me define the main block for this. So if name is equal to main, let's say I'll take the number input from the user. So input, enter the number for which factorial needs to be calculated. calculated. Okay, so we will get the input. Now one way, so basically once we get the input, one way is to we have to make sure that whatever input we are getting is an integer, and at the same time if we can also check if the number that we are getting is a positive integer. So so let's define a function. Definition is int, which will check if the number that we are passing is an integer or not. Okay, so basically what we have to do is we have to do try conversion of the number to integer. So try n is equal to int. So basically I'm trying to convert this number to an integer, and that's it. Uh, if the number gets converted, then we are good. If not, then there will be an exception. And so basically what it does is it will try to convert the number to an integer. If the number gets converted, that means it was an actual integer. If not, then it will go to the exception block where we'll be returning false for this function, and if it gets converted, then we'll be returning the value of true. So that is how we will check whether the number that has been provided by the user is a valid integer or not. Okay, so once we have that, let's put the condition here. So if is int, I'll pass the number. Okay. So basically if it is an integer which has been validated, then only we will use it as an integer, or I'll cast this as an integer, and then we will print the result of the factorial function by passing the number to the factorial function. Okay, but if this is not an integer, so in that case we have to publish an appropriate message for the user where we'll say please enter a positive integer only. Okay, so yeah, this is basically the function in the nutshell. Let's try to run it, and let's try to okay, so let's say I'll say we have to calculate a factorial of 4. Now if you see, when I asked the function to be called and calculate the factorial, we got this maximum recursion depth exceeded because we haven't even considered our base condition, or the condition that will break our recursion. So for that, as we had mentioned, the base condition is this. So we have to add this base condition, that is 0 factorial or 1 factorial is always 1. So to add that, we will say if n is okay, so if n in 0 or 1, we will return a value 1. Okay, else we will return a value of n multiplied by factorial of n minus 1. So after this, let me clear the screen and let me try to run this again. Okay, now if I pass the number 4, I get the output 24. So basically this is how the code will work. So we are pretty much good with this function. As you can see, this is a very simple function, and we have covered our base condition as well as our recursion case. But now the third step, which is the edge case. Let's check if our function is able to handle the edge cases or the constraints. That is, we cannot calculate factorials for negatives, as well as we cannot calculate factorials for floating numbers. So let's see if it is covering that. So if I call my function again and I pass 1.5, so of course with this number it is prompting the user, please enter a positive integer only. We have already handled that case. Basically how we did that is using this isInt function that we have created. But let's check the other scenario where we pass a negative number. So in that case, let's say I want to calculate a factorial of -2. So as you can see, it says maximum recursion depth exceeded in comparison. Why? Because we haven't put a condition to check for negative integers. Now because we already have this isInt function, let's put an optional check in this. Let's say I'll say is positive, and by default I'll say it's false. So let's add this flag and use this flag to basically check whether the number that we have passed is a positive integer or not. So if is positive, if the is positive flag is true, then I have to check if only if the number is greater than 0, then I will return true. So basically, if the flag has been passed as true, that means I need to check for a positive number as well. Else I will say false. That means the number is not a positive integer. So return false. Okay, now for this is only applicable when we are passing the flag. If we are not passing the flag or the flag value is default as false, then of course in that case we will simply return the value of, or basically we'll simply return true, because we are not looking to check for the positive integer being positive. Okay, now the reason I created this function this way is it gives us the flexibility whether we want to check for the integer to be positive or not, and we can reuse this function. Sometimes this kind of scenario also gets asked, that can you create a function which has this flexibility to check additional conditions and avoid checking the additional conditions if not needed. So that's why I wanted to demonstrate it using this function. So now we have this isn't function modified. Let's pass the flag is positive as true. So we want to check that the number that has been input it should be a positive integer, and if it will be a false, if it will return a false value, we will move to the else condition and print the same message which says please enter a positive integer. So now we have modified our function. Let's try to run this, and this time let me pass a value of -4. And yes, of course, this time we got the right message, please enter a positive integer only, and it has exited the prompt for the user. So now we have covered all the three conditions: the recursive case, the actual recursive scenario, the base case, as well as the edge cases. So that's pretty much how the recursive function or basically how this problem can be solved. You are most welcome to provide any suggestions, or if you feel like there is a much simpler way to handle all this. Of course, one thing I want to mention is how we provide the input as well as how we handle the edge cases can vary. I can still create a modified version of this function where if we end up getting into an edge case or a case which is not getting covered, I can redirect the user to basically enter the number again using a while loop. So that is like one kind of change that we can add to it. But generally speaking, in the interview, I think these are the only three things any interviewer would be looking for. So that's why I created it in this way. So that's it for this video. I hope this will be useful. I will continue creating similar kind of videos, and I'll be sticking to recursion for some time and try to cover all the scenarios that at least I have encountered, or those scenarios that I have read around and seen problems related to. Okay, thank you. Thanks a lot for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you.